More than 70 Haitians expelled from the United States have been flown back to Haiti on the first deportation flight since heavily armed gangs launched a bloody insurrection which has paralyzed the capital and forced the Prime Minister from office. The flight, which landed in the port city of Cap Haitien early on Thursday, was described as inhumane by human rights activists who warned that deportees would likely be targeted by the criminal factions who control most of the country. Haiti has been in turmoil since President Jovenel Moïse was assassinated in July 2021, but in the past 2 months the country's deep, overlapping crises have reached new lows as the gangs have joined forces to unleash an unprecedented wave of brutal violence. The U.S. airlifted non-essential embassy personnel and other citizens from Haiti late last month. The acting Prime Minister, Ariel Henry, has since stepped down and a transitional council has been formed, but conditions remain equally dire with deadly gun skirmishes a daily occurrence, 4 million people regularly going hungry and the public health system on its knees. Heavily armed gunmen continued to wage terror on the country on Thursday, reportedly shooting dead 8 civilians in the Carrefour neighborhood in the western limits of the capital and taking control of a police station. The anarchy is expected to deteriorate further as gangs respond to Tuesday's announcement that members of a transitional council had been appointed to choose Henry's successor. The gangs have been increasingly occupying, looting or burning down medical facilities, schools, shops, and houses. If they continue to blockade the ports and the capital's airport, the lack of supplies and food could seriously worsen the humanitarian crisis in Port-au-Prince and the rest of the country. The U.S. most likely flew migrants to the north of the country as the capital is logistically impossible to reach given the lack of law and order. While Cap Haitien may be far from the violence in Port-au-Prince, most of the deportees are not from the far north of the country, so will have to risk traveling through active conflict zones and gang-controlled checkpoints to get to their homes and families. Their perceived connections to the U.S. also make them vulnerable targets to gangs who extort, kidnap, and torture for financial gain. Once gangs realize that deportation flights are coming into the north of the country, operations will be set up to take advantage of these people. U.S. deportations to Haiti have been halted in the past when the country was in crisis, but upcoming elections mean Joe Biden is using Haitians to look tough on migration.